Today we're doing a what I eat in a day, a classic, but adding in what my macros are, and those are macronutrients. So those are carbohydrates or carbs, protein, and fat. I'll show you the macros for each meal and each snack that I'm eating throughout the day as well. Now, every person's macros are gonna be a little bit different dependent on your starting point, your calorie intake, your goal calorie intake, and your health goals in general. So they don't just copy what I'm doing, because everyone's macros are dependent on their individual needs and goals. This is just to give you an example of, okay, this is how you track your macros and how to hit your macros or get close to hitting your macros. I do not track every single day by any means, but I do believe it's incredibly helpful to track in the beginning when you're like just starting out. Once you have your macros figured out, it's so helpful to track for the first week or two to get an idea of, okay, this is what the proper amount of carbs, protein, and fat looks like in my day-to-day. And then I'll grab my phone and track. I use the MyFitnessPal app. It's totally free, and I track maybe, I don't know, once a month, if that. Just one day out of the month I'll be like, well, let me see if I'm on track this month, or if I'm way off what I think I'm doing, or so on and so forth. But I pretty much eat similar things every day because I know the general of what that balance looks like between carbs, protein, and fat now. Why tracking your macros is so important is because your body runs off of fuel in the form of food, right? And that fuels your metabolism, and your metabolism is not only about weight loss or weight gain, but it literally controls every function in your body, from your immune system to your hormones, your digestion, and so much more. I always talk about balancing blood sugar because that is such an important aspect in balancing your hormones. And how do you do that? You do that through your macronutrients, eating often every 3 to 4 hours, and then the proper balance between those carbs, protein, and fat. But first you have to figure out what your proper balance is of carbs, protein, and fat. And that's exactly what I do in my one-on-one coaching with clients. We sit down and we figure out what your macronutrient needs are based on your health goals. And that looks a little bit different for everyone. My books have been closed for the month of September, but I'm opening them back up for the month of October. So for October, I'm only gonna be taking on 10 clients. And what it looks like is I have a 4-week program or 4-session program of one-on-one nutrition coaching. It's all online. I'll put the link in the description box below, but you can schedule your first 15-minute free consultation with me. You'll fill out a really short questionnaire to get a good idea of where your starting point is and where you're at and what your goals are. And then we'll sit down for 15 minutes at a scheduled time, and I'll get to know you a little bit better and what your situation is and how and if I can possibly help you. And then I'll explain exactly what my program entails and how much it costs and all of that good stuff at that free consultation. And then we'll go from there. So let's get into this day of eating.
I started the day by making a big batch of blueberry baked oats. This is really simple, especially if you're kind of on the go type of person, to just grab and go and you don't have to think about what you're going to make for breakfast every morning. So what it is 2 cups of rolled oats, 2 cups raw milk, a whole egg, a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, and a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon salt, and a teaspoon of vanilla. I added 2 scoops of collagen as well to give it more protein to the mix, and then combine it all up and pour it into a sprayed or oiled pan. Oh, don't forget the blueberries, of course. How could I forget? I used 1 cup of fresh blueberries. You could also use frozen blueberries or any other type of fruit like peaches, bananas, or strawberries. Put that into the pan and pop it in an oven at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. While that cooked, I made my favorite milky smoothie, which is about 1.5 cups of raw milk, a raw egg yolk, don't worry, you can't taste it, a big squeeze of honey, a dash or 2 of cinnamon, a pinch of sea salt, and then I added a scoop of collagen and some bee pollen. Blend that all up until it's smooth and enjoy this for a nice start to your day. Once the baked oats are done, you can take them out of the oven. They will smell amazing. And here's the final product. It's so good. So this is exactly how I track my macros on my MyFitnessPal app, especially if I make a recipe that's hard to put in all the ingredients. You can see I say add recipe, put in the title, the amount of servings, and then I put the ingredients in one by one. This way you can add the correct serving size and it'll just calculate it for you. Try not to stress over making sure you have the exactly correct macros. You want a general sense, and the recipe tab makes this really easy. For my snack, I made an adrenal cocktail, which is a cup of raw milk, a cup of orange juice, a dash of salt, and a scoop of collagen. But I never have this alone as a snack. I always pair it with something else. Today, I paired it with some skyr yogurt. I love this stuff. Then time for lunch, I had leftover chicken fajitas and Spanish rice all mixed together with some cantaloupe. Then for my next snack, I had 2 smoked oysters. This is the exact tin that I get from Trader Joe's every week. I first rinse off all the olive oil that they sit in and then just keep them in a Tupperware in the fridge and have like 1 to 2 a day. And then I made another adrenal cocktail. This one was with coconut water, to the power of vitamin C juice from Trader Joe's. And then it has a pinch of sea salt in it. And then I paired it with a carrot. After that, I had a few pieces of this organic beef jerky from Trader Joe's. I think it's so delicious and easy, especially on the go. And then I had a banana with it. For dinner, I wanted to keep things really simple. I didn't want a lot of cleanup, and so I decided to do a 1-sheet pan roast in the oven. So I started by chopping a few potatoes up and put that onto the sheet pan, and then added some thawed shrimp to the pan. I simply could not be bothered to melt my butter, and so I just used softened butter and, just rubbed that into the potatoes, rubbed that into the shrimp. You got to do what you got to do sometimes, and this made such a mess. Like, it's kind of grotesque to look at, but okay, anyway. Then I added some garlic powder, some cracked pepper, and then a bunch of salt to both the shrimp and the potatoes, and then I added my favorite seasoning of all time, Old Bay. This is so good, especially on seafood, and then I mixed up all of that goodness into the shrimp and potatoes, added some broccolini with some lemon, put some lemon on the shrimp too, some garlic, and then of course some salt, and popped it into the oven. I took out the shrimp and broccolini before since they cook a little bit faster than the potatoes, but this dish was delicious. I loved it. I ended my night with some dandelion root tea with milk and honey.
I hope you guys liked that video. I hope it makes sense, all the macros and their different units, and how you can incorporate some of these examples into your life if you want to. Comment if you have any questions about macros. Again, I'll leave the link to schedule your free 15-minute consultation in the description box below. If you're having trouble figuring out your macros, that's a perfect place to start, because that's exactly what I help people do, and then help you to discover how to manage those carbs, protein, and fat and fit it into your lifestyle with your, of course, needs and goals. And don't forget to subscribe. I post a new video every single week. Bye.